day. So yeah, this is obviously classified secret, and it says, what would the president want to know on Inauguration Day?
And just to note, you guys, sorry, don't mean to like put in there, but
no, you're fine.
I was just going to point out that this document is literally from the CIA to the entire staff of the Signals Intelligence Directorate at the NSA. So the fact that they even have a communication channel to directly talk to NSA staff members with no middleman, it's not coming through an NSA liaison office, it's not coming through because CIA is a customer of NSA, it's not coming through the NSA liaison to CIA or anything like that. This is coming directly from the CIA to the entire NSA workforce. And yet again, for the 50th time, it smashes the myth that Snowden didn't leak anything on CIA, and that CIA isn't affected by the Snowden leaks. As a total falsehood, as this document is yet again proof of. But
exactly, definitely. Yeah, and regardless of anything that this document says, I think that fact would be useful when I do a write-up, just to mention again, because I mean, we've had so much smear type material come out lately on this subject. So yeah, I would include this document, just at least a line saying exactly what you just mentioned, Susie. But anyway, the first paragraph reads, the NSA presence in the DCI Operations Center on the 7th floor of the CIA's old headquarters building at Langley is known as the CSG-CIA. On 12-hour shifts, among other duties, the NSA representative selects 20 to 30 SIGINT reports from a continuous stream of about 500 reports, which flow in from NSAW, the RSOCS, and SIGINT partners worldwide. One factor remains paramount in the selection, and that is, what would the president, vice president, and other principals want to know about today? Every day, the Director of Central Intelligence is responsible for providing intelligence briefings to the President, Vice President, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, the National Security Advisor, and several other principals. See, now I'm tripping over my words. The briefings are put together by knowledgeable, poised, hardworking CIA agents assembled on the 7th floor at Langley. Junior analysts, known as the President's Analytics Support Staff, or PAS, arrive around midnight to fuse all source intelligence into professional quality desktop published briefings known as the President's Daily Brief and the Senior Executive Intelligence Brief. Their first stop is to collect the papers from their box on the DCI Ops Center. 3 inches of more photocopies filed over the past 24 hours by Ops Center analysts and watch officers, including the NSAers. Around 3:30, the senior briefers arrive, first checking in with the desk officers in the DCI Operations Center, and assemble their briefing packages, which will be dressed in gold embossed leather binders. By 06:30, limousines with drivers take on their passengers to travel to the White House, State Department, the Pentagon, or wherever else the principals may be that day. But today is no ordinary day. It is January 20th, 2005, President Bush's Inauguration Day. The entire front wall of the DCI Ops Center displays streaming video feeds from CNN, BBC, and the major news networks, showing scenes from the last night's black tie and boots ball, the slushy streets closed for the parade, black limousines and white police cars set against a gray sky, and newscasters in wool coats standing before the steps of the Capitol. Such images are in my mind as I scan incoming reports on topics ranging from the Russian missile launches to the Sunni insurgency, Indonesian tsunami efforts, to unrest in the Middle East. Which near real-time SIGINT report is important enough to warrant interrupting the festivities today? Is one of them yours? As I place each printed report from the NSA into a box labeled POTUS, President of the United States, I think of the dedicated work and consistency of our chase for the intelligence that makes a difference. The author is a Greek language intern on a 90-day PCS tour to CSG CIA. And that's the end of the document, it looks like.
Okay, so it's actually one step further. It's NSA posted on site at CIA, working with them on the most significant activity of the CIA in terms of what their service to the administration, which is to work on the president's daily briefing. So that's how close the CIA-NSA relationship is. It's not just even that NSA is supplying SIGINT for CIA operations. NSA analysts are literally sitting alongside CIA staff at the very floor and building at which they are presenting, or they are preparing the president's daily briefs. So that's how intimate the relationship is between the two organizations. The other thing there is that the gold embossed folders and the limousines arriving to pick them up, and they're like, what the hell? Like, and that really spoke to me about the entitlement of the, I mean, this is military. These are the generals. Why do they need to be picked up in a limousine?
Yeah, why? Really. I noticed that. I noticed that for sure. And like, why, you know, why, and not only why do they need to be picked up in a limousine, but why does this person feel the need to point that out? What is it that he's trying to get? Yeah.
Why does their daily briefing to the president need to be in a gold embossed folder? Like, what kind of ostentatious crap is this? That's like the kind of like Saddam Hussein behavior of like living in the palace and everything being gold and blah, 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 blah. It's like, it's the behavior of like a dictator or an oligarch or whatever. Like, these are military guys. They're supposed to be like rough and tumble and down to earth and realists and blah, blah, blah. Why do they have to be ferried in limousines every morning? And why do they have to carry gold embossed folders? Like, the whole thing seems ostentatious and frivolous.
I agree. I think because, you know, from what we've seen, or from what I understand of what we've been looking at, you know, I would have very strong, very huge qualms with much of what they do. So it sort of, it replaces a justification for what they're doing, in my opinion. It says, oh, don't look at what we're doing, killing innocent civilians. Look at the gold embossed leather stuff in the limousine, because that's nice. Literally,
is the quality of your intelligence improved by having it in a gold embossed folder?
Well, from what they're saying, apparently, yeah, it means that whoever put the information into that gold embossed folder must have been correct in doing so. It must be the absolute best. So it's a total distraction.
It might justify the fact that they spent billions of dollars on the intelligence, which is routinely turns out to be crap.
Exactly. So yeah, I think it's like it's deflecting from that, and from, you know, the fact that they're doing horrible things. I think all of that, it replaces them having to actually argue for what they do, which they really couldn't do. So.
Okay, Barbara, I'm going to ignore your second to last comment, amusing as it is, and read your most recent one. Barbara says it is testosterone at its highest form. I think that's definitely true. I mean, remember George W. Bush like being sent back Saddam's personal handgun or whatever, and like mounting it on the wall like a fucking hunting trophy. Like this, I think this is very much the mentality of these people. Like,
definitely.
I mean, who needs like mementos of their vanquished foes like on their walls? Like, what kind of personality is like gets off on looking at that every single time they walk past it?
Probably a psychopath. I could think of one person in particular with the last name Clinton that probably would also do the same thing. You know.
You're right. That's exactly the type of thing that Clinton would like. And I mean, that's why she was like cackling her head off about Gaddafi being incredibly brutally murdered.
Exactly.
You're right. So only a psychopath would take pleasure in collecting trophies of. I mean, that's like serial killer stuff. Like, you know, serial killers like collecting mementos of their victims. Like, it's very, very similar. But back to the limousines and gold embossed folders. If you ask the average American, like, should these military generals be like ferried in limousines with gold embossed folders? Like, come on now, people are starving on the streets. Like, surely you can find a better way to spend the money.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too, because you know, a lot of Republicans might consider themselves very, very pro-military, but also very pro-small government. So it's interesting to see people like that would usually align with maybe the right, which like small government, then having this weird over expenditure. It just shows the hypocrisy of the whole thing, in my opinion. But
and also that's precisely the type of behavior that they criticize dictators for.
Exactly, very true.
Like, they will say, you know, that they're robbing the public purse and that they are ostentatious and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then you see that these guys are exactly the same breed.
Definitely. Absolutely. All we're missing right here is a description of goose stepping. That's all.